And we are now live across multiple social media channels for our weekly check-in where we sort out Wix websites live. And as you can probably see, we have changed to a vertical, is that vertical format, to see how that goes. We found some people were coming on in their mobiles, and this is obviously a better way to view it on your mobile. Does mean sharing screen might be a bit trickier, but we're going to trial it and see how it goes.
Yeah, let us know what you think. I guess it's probably the best way of explaining it, because if it works, we can show on to more platforms, which makes it easier for us to reach more people, which is what it's all about. We've also gone to 1080p now. We're in HD high definition, so
see every
make
single
sure
beard hair I have.
Yeah, I should have showed really before we started. But yeah, looking forward to getting started on some new platforms. If you're joining us from somewhere else, then thank you very much.
And we are the Wix guys. I am Joe. I'm the managing director, and Carl here is the creative director, which basically means I do the technical things in the back end of Wix, and Carl does the pretty looking things in the front end of Wix.
Yeah, you got it. That's pretty much the split. And there's often a sort of missed bit in Wix where a lot of people pick up Wix because it's easy to do the design work, and actually they miss out on all of the technical elements that Wix does have available in the back end. There's so much stuff that Wix can do, from booking systems through to charity donations. There's a whole host of different apps that are available and just get underutilized by people not understanding that they're there. So we're going to have a little bit of time today talking about some of that stuff. But I'm going to kick off with something. That's all right, Joe?
Go ahead.
So I'm going to talk about 3 things that you probably haven't seen in your Wix journey yet that would be really useful for your design elements. So making things a little bit easier for you when it comes to designing, making sure that you can scale your website if you're looking to add multiple pages, and also just increasing chances of people converting or following a call to action. So my first one I want to talk about is repeaters. It's a thing that is inside Wix and has been there for a little while, and it's often underused. But what that allows you to do is to create a block inside of the Wix editor, which then can be repeated multiple times across the pages. So it's a really great tool for you to use if you're making, for instance, a job board, or you've got loads of services you want to show off and you want them all to be uniform and you want them all to be in the same design. You can create a repeater. Repeater basically allows you to design it once, and you can just repeat that and then change the images and or text that's inside all of those, making sure that all of your design elements stay exactly the same throughout the page. It's a really great way of making sure your page is responsive as well, because they can be responsive items, but they're really useful for doing stuff at scale. So if you've got a huge amount of products you're trying to add on to something, or maybe you're trying to make your own blog inside of the Wix editor, you don't want to use the Wix blog system, then you can do that. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is the use of the CMS. So I always forget what CMS is. There's so many acronyms. Content management system.
Content management. Yeah, that's the one.
Nailed it. The CRM, CS, there's loads of stuff. But what this allows you to do is to use dynamic pages. So dynamic pages are basically a way that you can create what I was talking about with that repeater as a part of a page. You can do exactly the same thing with the whole page. So you can create multiple pages within inside your Wix website at scale. So you could create things from recipes all the way through to job posts I was talking about earlier on. So you can have a page that is your job board with all the jobs on it, and then when you click through it will take you through to the individual pages. Both of those tools are really great ways of making websites at scale, and the CMS basically uses an Excel spreadsheet to fill in all of the bits that you've got on your website. So it might be the title, the picture you have in your header, the salary if it's a job post, the job description. All those bits there are just pulled from a CMS, which is basically a glorified Excel spreadsheet, and then pulled into the system. Sounds a little bit technical, but actually it's quite easy to use once you've got used to it, and it is a really great tool for making large sites. So them two are really great to check out. The last one I'm going to talk about is site rules. Sorry, Joe, I'll get you talking in a minute. The last thing I talk about is site rules. Site rules are basically things that happen when something happens on the site. So, for example, you can use things like light boxes. So, when you go into a store and it says, after a couple of seconds, there's a pop-up that says, hello, welcome to the site. Would you like to get 10% off your first order if you sign up to our email newsletter? Those sort of things can be used. That is a light box with a site rule on top of it. So all of those are pretty easy to use. If you want to find out more about how to use them, then just ask me. That's probably the easiest way of doing it, because there's quite a lot of technical stuff in there, but they're all very useful. If you haven't heard any of them things, I'd recommend you go and check them out.
Yeah, and on whatever you are watching right now, if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, make sure to follow us because we'll be putting out more content and we'll be going into how to do those things, little tutorials. And the reason we decided to talk about design elements in Wix today was because we actually had a chat with someone today that was talking about their website and saying, "Oh, I've been told I need to go over to WordPress because Wix can't do this and Wix can't do that," when it's just not true. Now in 2025, Wix can pretty much do anything from a design point of view that Squarespace or WordPress can do, but people just don't know because they're still stuck like 5-6 years ago when Wix was a bit behind when it came to these other platforms. But Wix is pretty good, hence why it's what we do.
Yes, well, we made a whole business around it. But I think the big misconception around that is actually responsiveness. So people still think that Wix isn't responsive, and it isn't fully responsive. I will happily caveat that by saying that Wix Studio is fully responsive, Wix Editor isn't, but there's lots of tools you can use within the Wix Editor to make it much more responsive on pretty much all devices. So yeah, if you're looking to make your site more responsive, or you don't want to do, if you've built in Wix, you'll know it as them little dotted lines for in the middle. You have to try and keep everything inside of. If you don't want to use those and you want to sort of branch out of those, you can do that by using things like strips, repeaters. You can use galleries and things similar to make sure that you're using the full width of the screen and then making sure that it fits to it.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about the Studio versus the Editor as well, the Studio's load speeds are much better as well, because that's another thing that Wix sort of wasn't great on before. And the Wix Editor still isn't the best when it comes to load speeds of the website, but Studio has much better load speeds. So yeah, it really does rival a lot of WordPress websites. And the thing that has been spoken about for years and years now is the Wix SEO, and Wix SEO is more or less on par. We've managed to rank many a Wix websites above WordPress websites. So there isn't really much difference when it comes to SEO. SEO's changed a lot. It used to be a lot to do with the technical side of it, where now it's a lot more to do with the content side of it. Hence why AI search has become such a big thing. So yeah, Wix is good. That is what you should learn from this.
And I think one of the things we find is a lot of people, there's multiple stages of the journey of a Wix website. The first one being you have a go at yourself, and quite a lot of the customers we get come to us at that point. They have a go themselves, realize actually this isn't for me. Same as when I first opened up Xero and I realized that me doing the accounting isn't the way forward for this. Like, we need to outsource that as soon as we can. And that's what we did. I think it's similar for a lot of people when it comes to their Wix websites. Like, if they want to move forward and make a change, then they can outsource it to someone like us. The other thing you find quite often as well is someone will go to a graphic designer. Graphic designers are amazing. They're really great at making sure your website looks absolutely stunning. And stunning websites do help you with lots of things, but sometimes can miss out on some of the technical bits in the background that we sort of mentioned about earlier on. So that's why sometimes having a full service Wix agency like ourselves is what makes a difference. Being able to use them automations, some of the increasing amount of apps that are available, as well as making sure things like Google Analytics and stuff are set up correctly, is a really important part of your Wix journey, and sometimes can be missed. So if you've got an agency that you're working with, or you've got a designer that you're working with, just make sure they're doing all the stuff.
And we start websites from 749. So
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. I've completely
made it worse. So we do websites from 749. So if you just don't want to think about it at all and you just want experts to come in, fix something, or completely make you something from scratch, we do it from a lot more affordable rates than you would from a WordPress developer, where you're looking at like $3,000 plus to get a WordPress website. Or you can come to us for 749 and get an even better Wix website. Not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but hey ho, we're not live.
Yeah, hate to break it to you, mate, but we definitely are live. I think the other thing that I wanted to sort of touch on, as sort of alluded to at the beginning, is actually the breadth of stuff that's available within inside the Wix platform now. There's a sort of a system for pretty much every business type. So we've built everything from holiday rentals through to takeaways, through to charities. There's a ability within inside Wix to be able to do most of those things. And I would say it's at a basic level, but the basic level generally for a lot of people is actually everything it needs to be. It's an opportunity for people to jump on and get stuck into something that's normally quite technical and give them everything they need to do. So let's say hotels, for example, you can have a reservation and booking system where people have to pick how many people they have staying with their kids, adults, how many rooms they need, etc., etc. They can book all those things through the Wix website and keep all of your stuff in one place, alongside the opportunity to have all the other bits you normally have, like your blog, which helps for SEO, Wix payments, ability to take money from people. You can have an e-commerce store on there. All those things can be included inside the Wix platform. So you don't have to have loads of different plugins that you're paying for, which sometimes you find it happens when you get a WordPress site. The things you need to add extra little bits and bobs onto the top of it. Wix includes all that stuff in there. The only thing you would need to do is increase the hosting that you're using potentially. If you go into an e-commerce, sometimes you have to go up to the business plan, which is slightly more expensive, but still never going to be much more than sort of £50 max. I would say it's going to be less than that, but that's a good place to be at.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about Shopify when it comes to e-commerce, and Shopify is a great platform. We do like it, working with Shopify as well. But for especially the smaller sites, when you've got up to like 500 products, that's perfectly doable on the Wix and still manageable and very easy. Even if you are like a product-based business that has thousands of products, you can do it on Wix as well. There's nothing stopping you. It's just well, in fact, Shopify gets quite expensive at that point when you get to the thousands, whereas Wix is more or less a static price around the £50, I believe. Carl, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, there's definitely some bits that are good with Wix in that sense. It definitely hits that small market better. I think there's a lot more functionality around making your website look like your own website. Shopify is very strict around, especially if you're building yourself, around themes. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to stick with the same theme that everyone else has got. So having the ability to change and adapt your website to look like your own website is important as well.
And something people don't actually know about Wix is that you can make an app from your Wix website. So if you're a PT, for example, and you think it would be cool to have your own branded app that your clients can log into to get their meal plans, to get their training sessions, you can make an app, and it is like half an hour of work as long as you've done the back end in your website correctly. So it's really not that hard to then have your very own app, which obviously then makes you look a lot more professional, especially over your competitors that are using a lot of the free apps that are out there in the same niche. So that's pretty cool as well that they've made that so easy.
Yeah, it's not too difficult. It's not too expensive. It works out about £75 a month for that. You do have to pay some extra fees for Google Play and the App Store. Yeah, just to be on them apps, you have to pay. I think it's £199 for the App Store and £75 for the Google Play. That does change though, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, I think that's, for me, that is pretty reasonable to have your own app on the thing. As I said, it does differentiate you from your competitors. If you've got, especially like looking at hairdressers, or you're looking at potentially like a takeaway service, a pizza delivery, something like that. If you have your own app, it just gives you the ability to send your own notifications and to have your own space where you're not fighting with other people in somewhere like Just Eat. Obviously, they've got their own perks and the ability to use Just Eat. You don't want to say you need to drop that and take over the new app, but it is giving you your own space with your own voice. You don't have to listen to someone else's, and give away 30% potentially of your take-ins, which a lot of takeaways like.
Yeah, definitely. And Carl earlier said about hotels and the whole hotel booking system, and that same system works perfectly if you're doing like an Airbnb business or just a holiday rental type of business as well. They're called hotel systems, but it doesn't mean you have to have, a 20-floor skyscraper in order to make it work. Even if you just have a single location that you can do bed and breakfast from, it works perfectly there as well. Is there any other things in the background? You can do tables as well, can't you, for restaurants?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can do restaurant table bookings, which is quite a useful one for small restaurants that, a lot of the EPOS systems that you use in a restaurant would have a system built in. They're normally not that great, or you have to pay a load more extra monthly to be able to have that ability to do so. It does sort of take that away, and you don't have to worry about that too much. It has all those bookings in there. It comes through to your email. It can book into a calendar as well, so you can have it into a calendar, so everything is set up nicely for when somebody comes in. You've definitely got their booking in, and obviously is a great way of having them in your ecosphere of Wix, so that you can then send them email reminders in the future. You can collect things like their date of birth, so you can send them a reminder on their birthday that says, hey, your birthday's coming up in a week's time. If you come down with you and 3 other friends, you get your meal for 50% off. It's a nice way of bringing 4 people back to your restaurant in the future. So those automation abilities are in there as well. It does also work with their loyalty program as well. So Wix has an app called Loyalty Program. That is a system which you can reward people for booking with you. So that can be done through bookings. If you're like a yoga instructor, for instance, if they book 7 places, they might get the 8th one for free. Same as if they book a table multiple times, they can get something for free as well. So that's a really great tool that's usable in the back end, something that's often overlooked.
Yeah, and there's loads of CRM functionability. There you go.
I don't know why you go with functionality there. Functionability sounds like you've actually an extra word.
Yeah, there you go. Functionality, that's the one. In the background as well, where you can track your leads, you can create automations, you can segment audiences. So if they came through on an inquiry about one thing, you send them this email flow, whereas if they come through for a different thing, you send them a different email flow. So if you've used systems like HubSpot or even Monday.com and stuff like that, the back end of Wix can do something very similar, and it just makes small business owners' lives a lot easier if everything's just in one place and they don't have to have 7 different apps to run their business. They can just do it all from the Wix back end and still be able to run the website, and for that to look pretty as well.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning about the members area bit as well. It's another bit that's often sort of looked over. You can have a members area which allows you to have a login system. People can log in, they can get to only certain sections that only members are allowed to get to in the back end of the website, which allows them to get access to things like discounted booking rates and things similar if you wanted to offer something like that to your members. But it also allows you to have hidden pages that are only available for members to see. So if you have like members offers or members events that you want to be hid behind a login wall, then you have that ability to do so as well. It sort of has like a little bit of a system. It's called Wix Groups. It's a bit like the Workplace from Meta. Have you ever used that? Or Slack? It's like a social media network basically, where you can communicate with other people in your members area. You can leave comments and put statuses up like you would on a social platform. But it's a great way of actually building a community in the back end of your website.
Yeah, it's basically a forum for those that haven't used something like School or something like that. It's the modern day forum, which has a lot more functionality than your old school forums for us forum people back in the day.
One of the things that I've built a website for in the past as well. I worked with a boat rental company. So it was a large boat, and they had ticketed seats available on the boat. It was different prices depending on where you were sat on the boat. So with the event system, you can actually do you can create a floor plan, and then you can then price tickets depending on where they're staying. So if you were a theatre, for instance, and you wanted to charge the front seats, probably got a much more technical name than that, the front seats as a more expensive than what the stalls were. I think that's behind it. And then there's like the top row as well. You could then charge different rates depending on where they were sitting. So it's quite good for that sort of system as well. So if you've got a seating plan that's available for your either your event or whatever you have, you can do that with the ticketing system in Wix. It has got quite a lot of functionality. I think people underestimate it sometimes because they've got that old school vision that Wix just doesn't do all this stuff, and it really does.
Yeah, and big companies use Wix, and people just don't know it as well. Give us some big companies that use Wix, Carl.
Yeah, well, I will say that AI has definitely given me these things, so hopefully they're correct, but I would imagine they are. So Adidas, Tesla, Nike, 3 of the big ones that I would say that you'd use them. And what I would say is they're not building their main website on Wix. So don't get confused with that. What they are doing is building fast, reactive, marketing-based websites for their stuff. So, for instance, if Adidas did a pop-up, I always remember there was that beautiful pop-up they did in Germany where they used like a box, a big shoe box, and everyone came in and there was a store there. What they could do is, if that was going to be there for a week, they could bring up a lovely little website that basically told everything about that information. They can create that website, have it up there for a week, get rid of that website without it costing loads of money, and also someone in the team could deliver that quite simply. So yeah, a lot of these big websites do it. One of the ones that I recognize and remember was Karen's Diner, which is actually gone now, but Karen's Diner was on a Wix website for a very long time. So yeah, a lot of these big companies do use Wix. It's normally for reactive fast stuff. It's just because obviously at that size they are open to lots more problems than what you would be as a small business, so they need to have a lot more robustness. But with the quicker, fast-paced stuff, they need to be able to get something up quickly. Wix is always a design option for them.
I'm just trying to look in the back end of some of these websites to see if I can
Show some.
confirm they definitely are built on Wix, because AI sometimes lies. But I have found an article from a large company saying that Tesla uses Wix, Tesla, AirAsia, Fiverr,
Yeah, definitely the ones.
Walmart.
Yeah, so they're not. You're not building your main website on this if you're that size. You're using this for reactive, normally product launches or something similar in a localized area. A Wix website is perfect for that sort of stuff. So if that's something you're looking for and you potentially wanted to have a go at doing a quick reactive marketing campaign, we can turn Wix websites around in 2 days. So we can get you something that looks really professional and ready to go in 2 days if you needed it to be. So yeah, just let us know.
On a mission now to find.
Okay, I'll keep talking. I'll make you small so no one can see you while you're concentrating.
You made me big.
There you go. Yeah. So as sort of Joe mentioned earlier on, my job really here is design and making things look pretty, and lots of things change all the time in the website world. And one of the ones that we're seeing recently is luxury websites and their move to white space. So it used to be the luxury websites were black. Everything was black in the background, and black meant luxury. You looked like a Bugatti website or a Gucci website. All those things were really black in the background. But now if you go and look at the same websites, they're actually now really white focused. White space is what creates luxury. It's a clean sort of feel. If you look at shops like Pandora, that website is completely white, but also the shop is as well. It's designed to make it look luxury. So if you're in that luxury sphere now, moving away from your old school black website and moving to something that is much more clean and open is a really great way of doing so. You even see the same sort of trend happening with logo design. A lot of logos now are moving from being a little having a logo or something similar and turning to something that is much more sleek, normally text-based, and that can be used for something like an app logo or something similar. So yeah, a real change in the design that's happening at the moment. It's been going for a little while, but there's still people that are still caught up in that old school way of thinking. So if you're looking for luxury, yeah, white space is the way to go forwards.
Yeah, I haven't found any so far, but I have no doubt ChatGPT would not lie to us.
Never.
And my codelesswebsite.com has an article that has a load of the ones on that we've heard about before.
Yeah, I did double check it, so you should always double check what ChatGPT tells you, because it doesn't get it right all the time. And I saw it across a couple of different sources, but whether or not they've just got that from AI, who knows? But yeah, it's used a lot of times. It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Shall we wrap up there then, Carl? So we do this every single week at 8 p.m. GMT Tuesdays, and the idea is that people come along to this, ask any questions, we can live jump into people's websites and try to give them advice or even fix problems that they might be having. So if you see this between the next live stream, which will be 8 p.m. on Tuesday, please come along with any problems, and we don't charge you for this. So there you go. We usually charge for fixing websites, whereas this is completely free. So please come along. Make sure to follow on wherever you are right now.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Wherever you're on.
All that good
share,
stuff.
Comment, subscribe.
Do all the things. Press all the buttons that
press
are
every button. Yeah, every button that's
whatever's down there. Click it.
Press it all lots of times.
See what happens. Some of them might do something surprising.
That helps us
who
out.
knows?
Yeah,
you might unfollow us by accident. Don't click that one.
Yeah, if you click that one, click it again, because that's the wrong one.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching.